Your Denver Broncos continue to make the rest of the NFL extremely jealous, and while other Denver media might be focusing on videos of Bo Nix eating Rice Krispie treats or doing redrafts of the 2011 NFL draft or talking about Caitlin Clark, they are missing a point here, a solid point that we have to talk about before training camp starts, and that is the fact that this will be Vance Joseph's last year as a Denver Broncos coach. Either he is going to take a top 3 defense and make them the number 1 defense, in which case there's no doubt in my mind he becomes a head coach, or we drastically underperform, in which case Sean Payton will hire Jim Leonhard as our defensive coordinator, and he will walk with Vance Joseph. In this video, we're going to break down just a couple of the absolute franchise-changing things that Vance Joseph did as a defensive coordinator with the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, and then with the Denver Broncos, and why I think that we have only started to scratch the surface on what he can do. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me and the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So we know last year the Broncos drastically overperformed on defense. It feels like an entire lifetime ago that we let the Miami Dolphins drop a 70 burger on us, and it was last year's defense and truly the defense at the end of the season 2 years ago that propelled us almost to the playoffs then and then to the playoffs last year. It was our defense early on especially that kept us in games and let Bo Nix figure things out. And so it is no doubt no wonder whatsoever why teams wanted to interview Vance Joseph for a head coaching job last year. So the New York Jets interviewed him. They decided on going with a guy who had never had a head coaching shot in Aaron Glenn from the Detroit Lions. But Sean Payton himself has even come out and said, it is just a matter of time until Vance Joseph gets his next head coaching interview and definitely going to get a head coaching job. He is an elite play caller and an elite builder of relationships, and that shouldn't be something that concerns us. Sean Payton even said, you should only be concerned when there's no interest in your coaching staff. Sean Payton wants to grow up these leaders and have everyone poach them from us because success begets success, and that is absolutely true. So looking around, what are some things that Vance Joseph has done that make him so elite? First off, the fact that we had our first Defensive Player of the Year award in my entire lifetime of being a Broncos fan is an incredible achievement. So Patrick Surtain was as close to a unanimous Player of the Year as you could get. There were, I think, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson had some votes behind him, but you had Surtain win Myles and above the next leading vote getter, and that is pretty wild when you consider we had Champ Bailey here, we had Von Miller here, we've had some stud defenses. The Denver Broncos defense has been good most of my lifetime, and the fact that this was our first Defensive Player in the Year in a long, long time is a huge testament to what Vance Joseph can do, and the fact that he won it, and it's very hard. Defensive backs have a hard time winning it. The last time it happened was Stephon Gilmore back in the 2010s, and so that in and of itself is a huge achievement. And you just see he was incredibly dominant, but he gives all the credit to Vance Joseph. If you watch Patrick Surtain's interviews, he knows that Vance Joseph puts him in a place to succeed. And we're going to talk about how Vance Joseph is so strategic with the types of defensive fronts he comes out in. He even has one of my favorite quotes here that I think I have up right here, is that he hates even being labeled a 3-4 guy or a 4-3 guy. He said, I'm not a 3-4 guy or a 4-3 guy. I am a defensive coordinator, and my job is to put players in a position where they succeed. I think that is a very unique skill set to have that flexibility to put your players in a place where they succeed. You have so many of these coaches who come in and say, this is my system. You are going to get with it or you're going to get off the ship. And Vance Joseph is a lot like Sean Payton in that way, that you've seen Sean Payton win in a ton of different ways. He's not this is my system and I only do this. That is a sign of a great leader to me. How do you adapt when conditions change? And you see him do that, putting Patrick Surtain in an incredible position. Then you just look at what he did with us, right? That we were the 27th team in scoring and the 29th team in yards allowed before he took over. And then you see us jump into the 3rd team in scoring last year, actually performing better than the no-fly zone. We averaged 18.8 points per game allowed with the no-fly zone. I think it was 18.3 points per game last season. And that becomes even more impressive when you consider how many first-round picks do you think were on the Denver Broncos defense last year? It was only one, and his name is Patrick Surtain. So to get that type of talent out of a group that was 28th in the NFL just a few years before, the talent didn't change. It was how the coordinator got the most out of that talent. That's really the most telling thing and the biggest testament to his incredible coaching. You even see Micah Parsons come out and say, hey, who's the best defense in football right now? He doesn't say it's the Dallas Cowboys. He said it was the Denver Broncos and said he would want to play for a guy like Vance Joseph. And so you just see all of his players rave about him. We've watched interviews where Nick Bonito says he loves playing with him and wouldn't want to play for anyone else. You see Zach Allen talk about the reason that he followed Vance Joseph when he could have gotten paid in other places better. Right? He was nicknamed Baby JJ Watt there. He followed Vance Joseph to Denver because of the attack style, that it's very, very simplified, and it's a few calls that you run very, very well. And he said, I think that's the way football is meant to be played, that as a defensive tackle, your job is to get in the backfield. You are not reading, you're not going left or right or like, oh, I'm going this way on this play. Your job is to get in the backfield and wreak havoc. And he loves it, and players love it, which is why they continue to come here. So I think that is a huge testament to him. Looking back to what he did, taking guys like Budda Baker, who haven't been like game wreckers without him. Budda Baker said in an Arizona Cardinals interview, like, hey, I know Vance Joseph is going to be a head coach somewhere, but I'm loving the fact that I get to play with him now for the third year in a row, that it's almost like in his career, it's almost like moving houses every year and trying to get into a routine, that he loved the fact that he got to play with Vance Joseph 3 years in a row. And you see the Cardinals just make amazing leaps. That, again, the Arizona Cardinals were the fourth from worst NFL defense before Vance Joseph got there. After his third year there, he took them into a top 10 defense, and then they ended up being first in fumbles recovered, third in rushing touchdowns, and seventh in takeaways. Did a very, very similar thing with the Miami Dolphins, and on the Miami Dolphins playoff run under Adam Gase and Vance Joseph, they were the fourth best defense in all of football on third down, which is where the winning down, and then they were the sixth best in negative plays forced, and that is a huge testament to Vance Joseph, because the Miami Dolphins were the most injured team in football that year. They had 13 different defensive lineups last year, or the year that Vance Joseph was able to get this. And you see Adam Gase basically came out and said, hey, the reason I love Vance Joseph is I don't even think about the defense whatsoever. Here it is, right? He said, I don't think about the defense. All I have to think about is the offense, and I trust that Vance Joseph is going to take care of the defense, and take care of it he did. You give him 13 different defensive starting lineups, and he gets amazing results out of that. And you see Adam Gase is part of the reason he got that head coaching job here with the Denver Broncos. So you just see players who play with him now, who've played for him historically, other coaches around the league absolutely respect him and have nothing but fantastic things to say about him. Loved also, I think it was here, you see a quote from Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce says the same thing. He said, hey, I love the Denver Broncos defense. That front seven absolutely flies around. They mix up a ton of different looks. That the Denver Broncos led the league last year, not only in sacks, they actually broke a franchise record in sacks, which is a wild stat, that 40 years of Denver Broncos defense, and no team has sacked the quarterback more than your Vance Joseph-led Broncos of last year. Travis Kelce came out and said that front seven is flying around. You never know where guys are coming from. And I went up to Vance Joseph afterwards and I said, it is an honor going up against you, because I know it is one of the biggest challenges in the entire league. So Vance Joseph is a wildly talented coach. He is going to get the most out of this team with the amount of investment that the Denver Broncos did this year to go out and get a Hufanga, to get Dre Greenlocks, to get Alex Singleton healthy. This Denver Broncos defense had better perform, and I think what is going to end up happening is Vance Joseph will become a head coach somewhere else. If that happens, the Denver Broncos will get 2 compensatory picks because of the Rooney Rule, which would be a fantastic thing for us. And I feel very confident in Jim Leonhard in the background as well to come up in there. Sorry for the late video. Quick life event. Sarah just had her second round of chemo. Things are going as well as can be expected. She's like extremely, extremely tough and inspires me each and every day. So massive thanks to all of the prayers and well wishes. And not a day that goes by I don't check in the comments and see someone reaching out, asking how she's doing or praying for her. And that truly means the absolute world to us. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. My whole family absolutely appreciates it. In Broncos country, we've got so much to believe in. It's halfway down.